Okay, so I should probably start by just explaining to anyone who's watching this what we're talking about. So as Masterframe, we have an exclusive range of windows called the Bygone collection, which are only sold to master installers up and down the country who fit it really well and do a lovely job, and we know where it's going and that it's going to be fitted well, and we'll therefore guarantee the window for 12 years. And as master installers, you guys, you pay a subscription and you get an exclusive area that you operate in, and you follow a code of practice, and we do training, we have meetups and things like that. Did you know that this is the longest running industry network of its type?
Nope.
There you
No,
go.
didn't know that.
It is, and has been running, I think, well, there's a couple of dates. So I think the Bygone window, strictly speaking, is 22 years old, and the network is something like, is probably 21 years old. But the bulk of my, I think it really kind of got flying about years ago. So a lot of the agreements that I've got for installers are sort of 2001. You were there day one, weren't you, Tony?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. Yeah, just over 20 years ago. I think it had been going about 6 months when I came along. And I think it was a chap called Keith Pacey at the time that was spreading the word around and trying to get people to join the network. I had a bit of an interest in sash windows at the time, and it seemed to strike a chord with what Masterframe were doing. Yeah, so I came along and I met Alan and the team at the time, and I thought they had a very good idea. There was not much of a good product available for sash windows then, and they seemed to have a bit of a vision. And yeah, so I thought this looks like it's something good to get involved with.
Excellent. And then Chris, you were about 10 years after that, so 2010. So what? So we'd been going a while. What made you?
Yeah,
made Sherborne come on?
Well, I think we were dealing with Masterframe for quite a considerable time before that, and there were already, I believe, other Bygone dealers, in our area, and yeah, it just made sense to be able to, I suppose, reinforce, a relationship with you guys. And it's been working well for us ever since. Undoubtedly, in my opinion, it's by far the best timber alternative sash window on the market by a long way. And you guys are just a decent bunch to deal with. I mean, I think, if anything this year has taught us, it's been that there are some suppliers that perhaps we wouldn't like to deal with if we could. But that can't be said of you guys. You guys are honourable, do the right thing, and I think you believe in the product, and you believe in all of the dealers, and together it works.
Brilliant, thanks for that. And Declan, you were an installer, and then for one reason or another left the network, and then we managed to get you back on, and actually you've been doing pretty well since you came back, haven't you?
Well, we might have left the network, but we never stopped dealing with Masterframe, and we never dealt with anybody else. And I would reiterate what Tony and Chris have said. I think the measure of you has been in the last 6 to 8 months. You're far and away the only supplier who's been in any way proactive in the last several months. Most of them just stuck their head in the sand for the duration and waited to see what happened. And you, no different to everybody else, has had various supply issues, but I think you've handled them pretty well. You promote a spirit, an esprit de corps amongst the installers, which is not a bad thing, because we don't really compete against one another. We're in different parts of the country, and it's never a bad thing to share experiences with other companies doing the same thing. I agree with I think it was Chris who said, I think your product is the best in the market as a timber alternative window. And certainly in terms of how you deal with us, I think a measure of a supplier is when things go wrong. And on a couple of occasions, we've had issues where they haven't been our fault. They've been, something's gone wrong with Masterframe. And you've handled them well and in a professional way.
And that's all you can ask. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has things that go wrong. You see the measure of somebody when that happens and how it's dealt with.
Very nice of you to say so. I'll take that as a personal compliment, Declan.
No, I wouldn't want you to do that. It was directed at others in your network.
He's gonna need a bigger screen in a minute for his head.
Yeah, well, it's big enough as it is.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no, I'd echo that sentiment as well, particularly in times as they are now. In the fact that yeah, I mean, you had some issues with the delivery for us last week, but we knew about that a number of days before it became an issue, and you told us what you were doing to get around it. And we've managed to minimise the damage from that. In contrast, I've taken a delivery this morning, and I won't mention any names, but I've become aware of some issues as I've just been helping unload some frames off a truck that have got no glass and some panels and some handles missing and other bits. So as opposed to finding out about things afterwards, we've not had that from you at all, which is very, very useful in times as we are at the moment. So,
yeah, I suppose if you know up front, at least you can maybe make arrangements or speak to the customer or whatever, or move a date.
Yeah.
Well, try. And what does it mean to you guys to kind of be a member of the network? I mean, we're in a position. I do get asked a lot. Chris, you're in a particularly heavily subscribed area, sort of Surrey, sort of outskirts of London, where we do have a few installers in a relatively small area, and I have to turn other people away. We deal with a couple of people. Declan mentioned how he dealt with us but wasn't a master installer. I should probably say that we do have another range of windows that we sell to anyone, slightly different features and things. And I do have people sort of around that area selling those windows who'd love to be a master installer, but we have to tell them no. It's a bit of an exclusive club.
John, I think that sums it up, doesn't it? You've got people or other businesses that want to get in on being a member of our club, and for us, I think it's really precious that we're part of the Bygone dealership. Yes, are a few other dealers close to us, and yes, sometimes we come across each other. But I think what I see with any of the Bygone dealers that I know is they're not these scrupulous, whatever you want to call it, double glazing companies out there. They're guys that are passionate about their businesses. They're interested in the products that they're installing, and fundamentally do a good job and look after people, which is why you don't really hear any bad press about the Bygone collection, because you've got like-minded businesses and like-minded business owners who are all committed to the cause that we're on, which is to try and get across to the general public who might want to buy sash windows that this truly is the best product available. And it is. It's so difficult in our industry to get across to the end user, truly what you know in your head about the product that you're selling, because at the end of the day, we're all double glazing companies, and with that comes a certain amount of, years of, whatever the double glazing industry is about.
Bad press.
Yeah, but if I've always said this to the sales team, if I could somehow magically get across what's truly in my head and what I know about the products that we sell, including the Bygone collection, we would never lose a deal. And I think the fact that we're, this group of companies, that adds strength to that, when you're trying to sell to the general public, because ultimately they might go and get a quote from an alternative Bygone dealer. We're all probably going to be about the same kind of price anyway, and it just helps all of us, doesn't it, collectively? Win.
Yeah. I mean, there is quite a lot of referral stuff that happens. I mean, I think Tony, you had one recently. Was it Ian Gibson who sent you a job?
Yeah. I had somebody not too far from me here that somehow or another via the internet managed to speak to somebody, and I think it was it Wales? I can't remember exactly where it was now.
Artisanal in Denby, North Wales. He's not far from Anglesey.
Yeah, and they were kind enough to pass the inquiry down on to me, and by the same token, I get a number of inquiries that come from internet and whatever that really aren't in my area. So I pass them along. You know, annoyingly, a lot of them seem to be going to Barnet these days. So
We've had that issue.
Just the way it rolls, one way or another. I'm still
I
waiting.
had a bad year. Yeah, John Rose. He sends his apologies. He would have come, but he's got a few in.
I'm eagerly awaiting my case of fine wine from them this Christmas, but there we are. But no,
I'll remind him.
Yeah, no, just
Tony, he couldn't be with us today because he's too busy dealing with all those inquiries we sent.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he's booked up to about May at the moment on the back of us. But no, just to follow on from that. I mean, obviously, having had 20 years down this particular road, you know, I've found that I've made a number of very good friends in the network. Not so much in recent times, but you know, we've all met up down the years at various different work inverted commas social events where we, you know, swap ideas and whatever, which has all been very, very useful. So it feels more like a collaboration in that sense than any real competition between the different networks. So yeah, a little bit of a collaboration and a little bit of a code of honor, you know, goes a long way. Something you don't really see in this industry very much. So
no, there's people have sort of networks of customers and things like that, but I think we have something a little bit more special than sort of the run of the mill. Well, that's good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly just share my screen. Bear with me. Because we had a new website recently, and it would be nice to pop that up.
Another new website.
Well, we've got 3 Declan.
You've had more websites than Soft Mick.
Well, this is the best one. So
that's what you said the last time. Go on.
So we have a nice
new
website.
Your websites are like the Brexit negotiations, never ending. Go on.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying so. So we have a new website. Hopefully, showcases a few things that we do that no one else does. Tony, you've sold quite a lot of these recently, which is the London frame window. That's something that we do that I don't believe anyone else can. If you wanted to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, but that was to me, was it? Or
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Sold a few of these jobs in the last year.
No, quite a number. I mean, interestingly, we did some in dark green a few weeks ago, which was an interesting one. That has been very useful because that was there are a lot of these sort of windows around, you know, that are square on the inside and curved on the outside, and for a long while there wasn't a product that was up to the mark really to fit that market. And now there is. So you're certainly the first ones that did a decent job of those type of frames.
Would it be fair to say that this is about the only solution to that issue in plastic or composite materials? It's timber or nothing at all, I guess. Otherwise,
it's not the only solution, but there are some other solutions out there that I wouldn't hang the hat on. Put it that way.
Okay. It's a very diplomatic way of saying that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So London Session. So I think probably what I'm trying to say is like we're always trying to find the next thing. I think there's certainly with Alan, the chairman, and with Ray, a technical director, who, I mean, everyone in the industry knows them, and they sit on boards. And Alan's been chair of the GGF, but they always want to innovate, and we're always looking for the next thing. The other thing that I should talk about is Timberworld. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah. So Timberworld again. So like the London Session frame, it's something we do that no one else does. Like there's other people in the industry doing butt jointed timber alternative windows, but nothing quite what we do. In terms of the fact that we designed a construction method, patented it, had a machine built that's a one of a kind, and that picture there where you've got the open ends is kind of what everyone else is doing, and we've got the kind of sealed corners. I mean, how do you find that in the marketplace? Do you find that's a good USP, something you can kind of, as Tony said, hang your hat on?
Yes, it has been. I'm surprised because I thought that people wouldn't pay the modest extra charge that you add. But I was surprised they have, and we've picked up a few orders this year where people have upgraded when they've come into the showroom. They've looked at the timber weld and they've upgraded to the timber weld, and because of the number of the limited number of the range that you offer it on, consequently they've probably gone up 1 or 2 parts of the range to have the timber weld. So I think we've done 3 or 4 big orders this year with timber weld.
Brilliant, excellent. That's yeah. There's other options, but we think ours is the best. And yes, you know, you pay a bit more for some of these innovations, and you know, do things. We like to think we do things properly, but that comes with a price tag a lot of the time. And it's encouraging to know that consumers are alive to that and are willing to pay a little bit more if they see a bit of value there. The other thing you get as a member of the network is access to our online pricing system. Chris, you've recently rolled this out to your whole sales team, and this has been progressing quite well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, John, I've been going on for a fair while about, you know, the need to have something that we can get everybody, you know, at Sherborne using, and it just works, you know, as you make the guys more self-sufficient, more in control of, you know, putting together, you know, their own proposals. It just adds weight to everything that they do, and you know, we're certainly seeing success from it, and you know, I know there's lots more to come, and we're obviously keen, you know, to keep pushing ahead with it, but now to have the facility where we can literally create our retail quotations, you know, we know that they're kicking out the right prices, is great, and I think that's the other thing is the more that we can take away, you know, some of the admin functions that we all have to do, we can then spend more time on getting across things like, you know, the benefits of timber weld, and you know, all the other you know, product innovations that come from Bygone. So, you know, those are the things, the sexy things that we really want to get across to the clients, because they're the things that make people buy. So yeah, I'd definitely recommend anybody who is able to have access to PriceMaster being able to use it. Yeah.
So I mean, the guys who developed that system are rolling it out to a few different people in the industry now, a couple of really big clients, but they're typically charging £75 a month per user, and we offer 5 free to every installer on the network. And in fact, Chris, I might be able to have a chat with you after this meeting, but I think I might have nabbed a few extra for you as well. So maybe we could perhaps give the sales guys their own profiles, but I'll talk to you about that in another meeting. So kind of we've talked about most of it in sort of very briefly, but kind of at the end, it was just one sort of, any of you wanted to kind of summarize what it's like, how you see the future sort of with Masterframe and with the Master Installer Network?
I think Tony and Declan have both touched on it, and I might have touched on it already, but you know, there is that family feel about being a Bygone, you know, dealer, and I think for me that's become really more exaggerated this year because of the kind of relationships we have with most other suppliers. You know, so many of us buy from companies that have been swallowed up by, you know, bigger organisations, and you know, that isn't the way. Certainly for my business, we've always been very much about wanting to have a real good, strong, solid relationship with our supplier, because it helps in all sorts of ways. It doesn't just help me, helps my supplier as well. And we with a lot of suppliers now. So I think, you know, it's something that Bygone appear to be fully committed to, and as far as I'm concerned, long may that continue.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Tony, anything from you?
Yeah, well, no, as I say, I mean, it's 20 years is quite a long while, and I think it's been
been here for 8 of them.
He had hair back then.
Yeah, and it's felt like a shared journey, if I'm honest, in the fact that you know, with the product development, you know, all the collaboration over planning work and that sort of thing, breaking down resistance from local authorities. All of those sort of things feel, you know, shared ventures really with Masterframe in that sense. But having said that, and also, I've made a lot of very good friends amongst the other installers. I've got a lot of now. I feel a lot of personal friends at Masterframe, but none of that would count for anything if the culture wasn't the same as it's always been in terms of trying to get things right and the integrity that comes across. And if the product wasn't still, leading the field in terms of the frames that we get from yourselves. So yeah, so well done.
Thank you. I'll take that as a personal compliment as well. And Declan, anything from you? You've had a fun kind of because obviously you had a business partner, didn't you, until what, a couple of years ago?
And 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, and you under your own steam now, and a change of premises and a few things. You seem to be going really, really well.
Yeah, we've had. I mean, it's been interesting because we've had to we've relocated and we've put a new showroom in and what have you, and we've cemented our relationship with most of our suppliers. And as I said earlier, during the pandemic, Masterframe were the only supplier who made any effort to contact us whatsoever. And I'd never done a Zoom call in my life, and then suddenly we did 3 or 4. We did 3 or 4 with Masterframe over the duration. I think the other thing that I would like to say is that every year Masterframe make small incremental improvements to the quality of the product. They add little extras on, which if you look at them individually don't amount to very much, but when you look at them collectively over a period of time, they do. And it helps our selling process because it's something that we can paint to the customers and say, well, look, you installed 3 Masterframe windows last year. Now when you put them in, the next 3, and they're going to be slightly better for this reason. And it just shows a general proactive attitude to the way that Masterframe, A, represent their product, and B, look after their installers. And I would reiterate what Tony and Chris have said. I shudder to think that anyone would regard me as a friend, but they'd certainly regard me as a known acquaintance. So I've met really nice people from other installers, and you in some respects you get to share the good experiences and the bad experiences, but sometimes when you think things are unique to you, when you discuss issues with other parts of the country, they have pretty much the same issues as we have. But if all my suppliers were like Masterframe, my life would be a lot easier.
That's very nice of you to say so, Declan. That's great.
Yeah, well, the check will be in the post, I assume.
Absolutely. I'll be reminding you of this next time.
Yeah, well, I'll be reminding you what you told me to say.
Yeah.
There's going to be some savage editing going on here.
He's turned the video off now, I reckon.
Yeah. Yes, stop recording. Thank you for your time, guys. It's really helpful. It's nice things to say, and I forget, some of the stuff I don't know or I forget, and I'll be showing this to the directors obviously before it goes anywhere, and I think it fills me with a sense of pride. It's good. It's nice to know that we're doing something right.
Well, you deserve a sense of pride
for the day.
Yeah, have a day off.
Thanks very much. You're very kind. I know you're all very busy and you've got things to do, so I'll leave it there. But thanks very much, and have a good day.
Okay.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, fellas. Take care. Happy Christmas
Cheers.
if I don't see you.
And
Happy
Merry
Christmas,
everybody.
yeah. Cheers, Chris.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.